your horse is moving around and moving up and elevated with its front end, that's what you want, all right? You don't have to be worried about passing. That's the biggest fear people have in Western Pleasure is like passing a horse. Nothing wrong with that. Some of the greatest horses ever are very rarely on the rail at the World Show and at the Congress. They're off the rail, they're just gorgeous loping down, and they'll win. You know, it's just, there's nothing wrong with that. So keep that in mind. You don't have to be the low and slow horse in the pen. That's not good anymore. That's the 70s and 80s stuff. So when you are, we'll talk the control of the horse, all right? When you're Western Pleasure pen, you really, your reins are draped more than they are in horsemanship, so you really don't have any control, per se, with your hand, unless you're up, right? And when you're up like this, you're probably not going to do well in the class. So we really work on horses where you can teach them everything they need off your legs and your seat. Now, in practice, you got to use your hands to teach them that, but the goal is to ultimately get to off your legs and your seat, right? If you're on the left, we'll talk about the lope first. When you're on the left lead, right? The right leg or the outside leg, doesn't really matter. We'll just say the outside leg, whatever way you're going. The outside leg is that's your accelerator. That's your go. That's your lift up and go button, right? We like to use the inside leg as your speed regulator, all right? That's the one, when a horse starts loping fast, it's usually doing that because its shoulder is dropping down, right? It's going downhill. So it's going to go faster and its stride's going to get shorter, but it's going to cover more ground more quickly. That's not what we want. We want longer strides, and they'll go at a slower pace if you've got them at the right frame. Okay? So we use that inside leg to help, and that'll keep their nose like we were talking about on the turns. That inside leg will get their nose. Sometimes a horse sees something over here and they're like, and they look, right, off the rail somewhere. What happens? When you look like that, what did my shoulder do? Right. When my shoulder drops down, what happens? They're running downhill, they're going faster. Even at a trot. They will trot faster if they're going like this. All right? Forward motion. Right? And forward motion, you hear that, I don't think they call that anymore, they used to, but you hear that, lope with forward motion. That doesn't mean faster necessarily. It just means forward motion, meaning not this stubby stride, but a full length stride. It's going to be hanging right here, right? And you're going to squeeze that horse up with that inside leg. Occasionally you may need to roll up that spur. All right? Don't think about taking the spur and getting it into him, because what's going to happen is you're going to turn your toe out and you're going to poke, and he's going to go. Well, that's unattractive. You don't want that. Leg hanging down. You're going down the rail. You're loping down the rail, and he starts to drop that inside shoulder a little bit. And okay, I got to lift him back up, right? Lift him up with my leg, from here all the way down. Squeeze up. Okay, I want to be able to touch my spurs together underneath my horse's belly, right? So that means you got to be able to reach down with your spurs underneath the horse, right? Now, obviously, no one can physically touch their spurs underneath their horse's belly because your legs aren't going to do that. But you want to think about that. You want to get underneath. That's your goal. Underneath, not into the ribs and into the side. Into the ribs and into the side means poke, and that means tail swish, in, ears pin, run off. So you want to think about getting down underneath. And then to regulate speed, we use the spurs totally to regulate speed. Your legs to regulate speed, right? If your legs are hanging properly on the horse, and you want to slow down at the walk, right? Squeeze up with your both legs. Squeeze up. Now, here's the tricky part. You got to know your horse, all right? Because if you squeeze up and hold, some horses will stop right away. Some will slow down and take another couple of half strides or something and then stop if you keep holding. You have to know your horse. So the goal is you squeeze up until they slow down and then release before they stop. That's how you regulate speed in a walk. It's very soft, it's very slow with your legs, it's very simple, but it's probably one of the most difficult gaits for people to perform because I watched so many times in the pleasure class. That's why the judges are starting to walk them more now. The walk will take a lot longer now than it used to because there's so many horses that don't want to walk on the rail. They want to do something. So you need to work on that at home. There's times when our entire session of training a horse, we never even tried it. Because maybe it was not wanting to walk very well, we'll spend that entire session, maybe several sessions, just walking. And you gotta feel, when you feel him start to do this, you gotta catch him before it's too far gone. Because if you wait until they're already walking like this, you're done. Right? You're walking, you're walking, you're walking, you're walking. Whoa, whoa, easy, buddy. Sucker. Because then you won't notice a huge change of speed on the rail. There's nothing wrong. I've got a couple horses that I show that every stride, I'm holding them and releasing them with my legs because they want to walk too fast. Well, we were just talking about how to do it. You ever dropping the shoulder though? That's why you're rocking the head. See, right there, she touched him with that inside rein a little bit, and you lifted his shoulder, and you quit rocking his head. There, see inside leg, where you tip his head in. And you stop rocking. Drop his shoulder, touch him with that inside a little bit right there. Inside leg just a little bit. What are you doing with your hands? You're all over the place. Just hold it there. There you go. Nice. Now hug him with that inside calf a little bit. Now keep him nice and slow. Very nice.
And stretch up and back again. Now get a hold of it. Get a hold of it. Get a hold of it. Get a hold of it.
Feel your horse. At what point is he going to break to a walk from the jog with me squeezing? You got to feel that. Well, you got to feel that, practice that. When you're jogging along, it gets a little fast, you got to squeeze him up until he comes back to right before he breaks, release. I'd rather see one trot a little faster but be good at it than one going really slow and just stubbing his legs into the ground because it's not attractive. Like this horse over here is pretty good. He is just a tiny, tiny amount hitting the ground a little faster with his front than he does behind. But it's not enough. It's so close that I'm like, that's a good job. I'm okay with that.
We've gotten some cues on him when we back it down more than that.
Yeah, he would look lame.
Yeah,
He looked itchy in his stifle, his back end would look sore. But she's got him pretty slow. And like right there, that's a fine jog right there. He's really close. I'd call him a very functional trotter. I wouldn't call him a 10. But I wouldn't call him a 6 either. He's a functional, good trotter. Jog a little bit faster than maybe you ultimately like, but that's going to be okay because that is what allows him to actually jog pretty. Now that's too fast. There you go. But he really can't jog that slow. He can't jog as slow as that one can. He's going to have to be a little bit faster in order to stay true. Because remember, a trot is a 2-beat gait. Alright? It's a 2-beat gait. The diagonals are supposed to hit at the same time. Right? Right front, left hind should be hitting the ground at the same time. Left front, right hind at the same time.